All right, you're most welcome, dear viewers. Asa and Ixok, as usual, thank you for reaching at the moment. Let us try to proceed and we look at another manufacturing process. But today, last time we looked at the manufacture of ethanol from starch, and we promised to look at the manufacture of what? Of ethanol from sugars. And that's our major concept today before we go to other things. Let us first look at the manufacture of ethanol from sugars, and we also see, last time we looked at the manufacture of ethanol from starch. Today we want to look at the manufacture of ethanol from sugars. Yeah, manufacture of ethanol from sugars. That's now our major concept. You know what can we call any substance that contains the sugar? It can be used here during the manufacture of what? Of ethanol from sugars. Probably we can talk at common examples that people normally find on the ground. For example, sugar canes. They are sources of sugar, and also can probably when you go to any factory that produces sugar, you may end up getting some molasses in that case. So in this case, the chemical compound that is found within there is we call it sucrose. Sucrose. So when we are explaining, it is sucrose that is supposed to undergo what? Reaction in such that we can reach a point when we have our what? Our ethanol. So in this case, and that's what we need. Okay. When you proceed, let us try to, as you know, for each and every manufacturing process, we need what we call raw materials. So what are some of the raw materials for this case that we are going to be able to use? Let us first list the raw materials under this particular aspect. Raw materials. We can talk about molasses, or you can say sugar containing substance like molasses. Then after, you may be interested in water. Then yeast can also work for us in this case. So that is a very major concept that we have to follow in that case. So we are talking about three major raw materials. So others may come in, but let us first talk about the three major ones. So we are talking about sugar containing substance. We are talking about molasses. Someone can talk about sugar cane is there. You mean about the spellings that we are using. Then also we are talking about water as a raw material, and we are also talking about yeast as a what? A raw materials. Now, how are we going to use these ones to explain? That one is also a major point to consider. So let us see under process of production, how are we going to explain these ones? How are we going to mix them so that we can be able to get our ethanol that we are interested in at this particular moment? Process of production. Now, under our process of production, what are we considering in this case? What are we going to start with? We can start with the sugar containing what? Substance like what? Like molasses. So someone can talk about molasses. What do you do? You mix with water. Then after mixing with the water, what happens? They are heated. Then when they are heated, what happens? You add yeast. When you heat, you add yeast. When you add yeast after heating and you add yeast, what is going to happen at the end? When you add this yeast, you leave the mixture to do what? To ferment. You leave your mixture to ferment for some what? for some days, probably 5 or 10 and so on. So we are saying molasses are heated with what? With water, then yeast is added and the mixture is allowed to ferment, maybe in the what? In a boiler or in the container and so on. So long as you specify where you are putting your mixture in that case. So after leaving to ferment, what happens? We specifically based on yeast. What yeast is the substance that contains enzymes. What will those enzymes do, and to which chemical compound? When you talk about molasses, since this is a sugar-containing substance, we are saying that the substance, the chemical compound that will be found in molasses, that is sucrose. So what is going to happen to sucrose? So in this case, we shall have sucrose from molasses. We shall have sucrose. So what will happen to our sucrose? It will be hydrolyzed. And when it is hydrolyzed, there is an enzyme in yeast. In this case, we shall, the enzyme in yeast that we had across was called sucrase or sucrase. It will catalyze the decomposition of sucrose, catalyze the hydrolysis of sucrose to, in this case, we shall form glucose. And fructose. So it is sucrase as an enzyme in yeast will catalyze the hydrolysis of sucrose to glucose and fructose. Remember, sucrose is made up of two compounds with the same molecular formula. One of them is glucose. Another one is fructose. Those are the two compounds that make up what? Sucrose. They have the same molecular formula. So in this case, since we are writing in terms of molecular formula, let us just know that one of them is the glucose and one of them is the fructose. That's what we should know. So we are showing that this is glucose. Then this is what? Fructose. And then this is sucrose. Then what happens? Still the same substance known as yeast that you have added and you have left the mixture to ferment. During the process of fermentation, it also contains another enzyme. The one we are going to talk about as a zymase. Zymase also does its work like the way how it does when you are manufacturing ethanol from what? Starch. In the same function it will perform while glucose has been formed. And glucose has to be decomposed to ethanol and carbon dioxide. So, in the same sense, since it is yeast and it contains zymase, zymase will have to do its work by catalyzing the decomposition of glucose to ethanol and carbon dioxide. So, this is decomposition, ethanol and carbon dioxide. Yes. So this is the mess that is catalyzing the process. Now, let us try to explain what we have written there in terms of chemical equations. When you look at this, we are saying molasses are heated in what? In water, then yeast added in a container or a boiler, and the mixture is allowed to ferment for some days. Sucrase as an enzyme in yeast, or sucrase as an enzyme found in yeast, catalyzes the hydrolysis of sucrose in molasses, because sucrose is molasses. Sucrose in molasses to glucose and fructose. And then another enzyme in yeast, known as zymase, catalyzes the decomposition of glucose formed into ethanol and carbon dioxide. That one becomes our real process of what? Production. When it comes to manufacture of ethanol from sugars. In this particular case, any sugar containing substance can be sugarcane or else. So don't mix them. I'm requesting don't mix them. The one for starch and the one for what? For sugar. You should know which enzyme comes first, because you have, as a chemist, you have to understand the processes that we are undergoing. So by this, at this time, also this is a manufacturing process of which you have talked about the side effects. Side effects. You also talk about the social benefits. You have talked about the side effects, and we also have talked about the social benefits. The social benefits, as usual, employment opportunities, and manufacture. The ethanol manufacturing plant will be a source of what government is revenue in that case. Or you can proceed and explain and up to the end, just like you have been explaining in the previous what the previous session. Is also side effects. Look at what we are doing. We are looking at, we are preparing what? Ethanol. So at the end of all, we can have ethanol spills on the surface or on the floor. This is a slippery substance, so you can easily slide and fall. So it can lead to what? To accidents within the manufacturing what? Within the manufacturing press. So that one can be mitigated by proper management of what? Of ethanol. So it can help you. Or else, ethanol can easily catch what? It can easily catch fire. So in that case, so when it spills on the surface and it is subjected to fire, then the whole place can easily catch what? Can easily catch fire in that case. So for that matter, you still manage it very well as a mitigation in that case. So proper management routines can also work. So at this particular juncture, allow us end here. Probably when we meet in the next session, it may either be another manufacturing process, probably oxygen, or it may be another thing, as we shall be able to see how best we can be able to do it very well at this particular moment. Don't forget to subscribe. For any inquiry, contact us 0758876705 or 0762258869. The numbers are down, or else use an email use an email which is the ixokasan 07 at gmail.com. I wish you the best.